I'm Kiwi.
And I'm Jarad.
And we are the two gentlemen. Coming to you, covered in sunshine.
We are. Finally.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
And together too.
Yes.
Once again, we're together.
Yes.
Jarad, how are you?
Very happy. Excited again to be together. It's the quality of these podcasts. The audio would be much better, I would imagine. And the chemistry, I think, is there.
It's the eye contact, man.
Yes, I think so. But yeah, how are you, mate? How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. 100%. Yeah, feeling great.
That's good. Actually, I thought I was coming up my stairs, and I don't know why it happens to me. No matter what pocket my key, so I'm usually carrying something, right? So no matter what pocket my keys are in, I think, okay, I'll carry something in my right hand, and my keys are in my left pocket. And I turn, oh no, they're in my right pocket. So I've got to transfer all the shopping and all the stuff, and it just. Why does it happen every time I walk up the stairs and every time I go to the door, I'm busting to go to the toilet and you're trying to find your keys and it's always in the opposite pocket too. And then, anyway, first world problems. But, yeah, that's my gripe of the day.
You need a lanyard.
I do. And they're always lanyards. There's so many at every conference you go to. Like, I've never used a lanyard. But,
yeah, most people don't.
Yeah, but I have a drawer full. I can't throw them away. Yeah. They're like, this is from my conference in 1998 when I didn't go to conferences in 1998. I was still in school. But yeah, lots of lanyards in the world, but yeah, probably need one. Yeah, good thinking. I don't know if my wife would like it. I don't know. I don't think it's an attractive sort of.
Hey, look,
I don't know. Hey, if it works, though, it's functional.
Exactly. I started the bum bag as an adult, and it's not really something that a lot of people do.
Right.
I mean, I don't even deal drugs out of it. That's the kind of guy.
No way, really.
And I'm not German, and I'm not backpacking either.
You are bucking the trends. Quite the trailblazer.
Well, I actually stole the idea from my son because he used one because he'd carry tools around with him because he was cutting cords or whatever. So he'd like to have a bum bag. So he's always ready. And I thought, that's a great idea.
Was it at the front or at the back?
He's a front guy.
Yeah, okay.
I mix it up a bit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What about the hip? Like a
no,
satchel?
it's not comfortable.
That's weird, isn't it?
That's
just weird.
No,
yeah,
it's not designed for that.
I think it needs to be more of a satchel when it's over your shoulder, like a man bag.
Yeah, the messenger bag.
Anyway, we've sort of diverted here.
Well, look, I got inspiration from my son there, and it gets me thinking, what kind of impact do you have on people that you don't even know about? We talked about this in the last episode, how people care about you. Strangers are looking out for you.
Yep.
And people are tuning into our voices, not necessarily on this podcast, but I'm talking about in general for everybody. People are listening to little snippets of what you say.
Yep.
And it all adds up. I can imagine someone telling a story. For example, someone told me a story about when you were working at a steakhouse and that you had this customer who would ask for his steak a certain way.
Yep.
I don't think it was you that told me the story. I'm pretty sure someone else told me the story about you working there. Even though I worked there with you, I didn't know about it.
Yep.
And I still talk about that to other people when we talk about people having steaks and how they have them done. I'm like, actually, one of my mates, he's got this customer.
Yeah, right. And that was, wow.
And by the way, just so people know what I'm talking about, he had his steak blue.
Yep.
Is that right, Jarad?
Yep.
Can you
25 seconds on each side. You had to sear it. And if you didn't, if it actually stayed under the heat lamp, so when we prepared food, you'd put it up under the heat lamp and it would sit there for, I don't know, a minute while the rest of the food, or while the waiter was coming to take it away. But if it sat under the heat lamp for any second, like for any moment of time, it would be too hot. Like you needed it cold in the middle. And this steak was, an inch thick.
Jeez.
It was another level. Like I like my steak rare to mid-rare, but it has to be hot.
Yeah.
And this would have been cold in the middle. But he wanted it cold in the middle, and it was 25 seconds on each side. If you went to 30, he could tell. It took me about 4 or 5 attempts to get it right. But once I got it right, he used to come in every Tuesday and have his steak on his own, and it was his thing. And then he obviously liked what he got, so he turned up for. But that was. Jeez, that was 1996. So
yep, and I'm telling that story here in the 21st century to people when we talk about cooking steaks.
So that stuck around.
But it's amazing how stories spread, isn't it? And I think about all the wisdom I've got from other people, especially older people. There's a particular client of mine whose dad is A very smart guy.
Yeah.
And I kind of hang off every word he says because I want to I want to learn.
Yeah,
That's just all it comes down to. So I remember so many of our conversations.
Yeah.
And I wonder how many people out there feel the same, that they, they've got someone out there, or just from anyone really, or just general conversations, how far they spread themselves in the end.
Yep.
Or how far they spread that original conversation.
It kind of baffles me. That's why I'm stuck for words, because it really, you don't actually understand the impact you could have. Something that's quite, and I'm just going to use this word, but meaningless for you, could have such an impact on the person you're talking to. And you think about it, like, and it's probably more prone when I was, when you'd have a few drinks under your belt, in your mouth. You talk someone's ear off sometimes, and you wake up in the morning, I wonder what I said. Like, I know what I said, but I was quite enthusiastic about that. Or, well, we talked for 45 minutes. That was a long time. And, you're thinking that 45 minutes, is there anything that stuck? Is there anything that they, to this day, might still talk about?
Yeah.
And, more than likely not. I can't remember every conversation I've had. No one can, or I would imagine majority of people can't. But, I guess it's a natural thing in the brain that picks things, and, but yeah, you do remember these weird little things that just, were told to you 20 years ago, and you're just stuck in your brain for whatever reason. And all that you can think of, that's what they say. And I'm like, who's they? But it's somewhere in your brain. Yeah. And I'm sure there's a thing. It has to be a thing. Like, maybe we obviously take more in than we know. And we just remember little parts.
And I wonder why those conversations stand out for you. Because obviously, like you said, you don't remember every conversation you've ever had in your entire life. Nobody does. But we all remember some.
Yep.
What is it about those conversations that stand out in our minds?
Is it... Yeah, I'd be guessing. Is it the feeling you're having when you're having that conversation? You obviously felt good, bad, whatever. Something... scarred you in a good or a bad way. Yeah, I don't know. It would have to do with a lot of things, I would imagine. I'm sure there's a lot more smarter people out in the world that could tell us why. But, yeah, it's just interesting. I find it really interesting that, and I know, like, in my work life, in my professional life, I've had to speak a lot to people and explain things a lot to people. And, I do it as my job or in past jobs, but I'm doing that over and over and over again. But for that person I'm speaking to, this is the first time they've heard this.
That's right.
And, you can't go in there, thinking, oh, well, I'm just going to go through the motions, because this has an impact on them.
Yeah.
And they're going to pick up, so you might talk to them for 10 minutes about whatever the situation is. They're going to repeat that to their friends, and their friends are going to repeat, this is what the rules are, or this is what this is. And it's really quite, not scary, but it's actually quite weird to think that my conversation with that person could be in another country somewhere. Yeah. But yeah, it's reality.
Yeah.
It's reality. I mean, it doesn't have to be a job. It just has to be, a conversation at the bakery, or standing in line with somebody, or like we've said in another episode, on the bus or whatever. It just has an impact.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but you do have people, like you do have certain people where you kind of do hang off everything. So that, that as you grow up, that for me, that was my dad, like I'd always listen to my dad, and I still do. But yeah, I remember a lot more from those conversations, I guess, because that was, this is sort of, a voice I heard for so long in my life. But yeah, it's strange, strange thought.
So your dad is one of the reasons why we got together for this podcast, because I mentioned him in a short video series that I made.
Yeah.
And it just shows how much of an impact he had on me.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah.
And he only drove me to football training.
Yeah.
Not you come over and hang out and that sort of thing, but we had so many great chats, and they stuck with me.
Yeah.
And they stuck with me in a good way.
Yeah.
And
there you go, Dad.
the line that I quoted in the video was, make the most of what you've got.
Yep.
rather than think about your deficits, think about what you've actually got, what kind of skills you've got, how to make the most of the size that you have. In this case, it was about football. But yeah, that really stuck with me. Yeah. And I'm so grateful for that.
I still remember those conversations. Like, again, I don't remember all of them, but I do remember. And it's funny because I think I actually remember that particular part. And I think I remember where we were on the road. It's really weird how we've got the same, like, out of all the conversations, like, we used to drive 45 minutes to training in peak hour traffic. Yeah. So there was a long, that was an hour and a half, 3 hours per week.
Yeah.
And if the games as well. So, but for some reason I remember, and I'm not going to do it, I'm going to say it too fast and get it wrong, but it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog or something like that. Right. Yeah, so, and I remember him saying that with what he was saying to you that time. So yeah, it's really weird how we both remembered that moment in time.
Yeah. And, it's not always the positive things that we remember. It's I remember when I was 16, my brother said to me, you talk about yourself all the time.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, I was like, oh, I don't want to be like that.
Yeah.
So I've met people now as an adult where they try to ask me a question about myself and I answer, oh yeah, good. Anyway, tell me about you. And you've probably noticed on this podcast, I do most of the questioning.
Yeah.
And I don't feel as comfortable as you.
Yep.
Talking about myself.
Because of that one.
Probably. Moment. And I know it comes back to one criticism.
Yeah.
But it did make me just kind of reassess everything. And, I guess with, it's like a pendulum, you swing too far one way and you overcorrect. And, it's taken me all of my adulthood to try to correct that. And I'm not even trying to correct it. I don't even bother with it. I'd rather not talk about myself. I'd rather talk about other people and talk about, ideas and concepts and that sort of thing. But it really stuck with me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... I mean that's right. It doesn't always have to be positive. It's I still remember, and I brought it up with this particular person it would have been a couple of months ago. So in high school, and I mean this is the stupidest story. Like I'm going to say it, and I'm just going to. Why did I just say that?
Yeah.
But it was like early high school, so year 7, maybe no, yeah, it was high school because I remember where I was, and this guy, all he said was. And not in an aggressive way. It was just, you dress like a surfie. So, essentially, or too much like a surfie or something like that, right?
But it was a criticism?
Yeah, well, there was a criticism, but it wasn't an aggressive sort of thing. And I went, oh yeah, because I think we had a mufti day or something. Yeah. So, I went, oh yeah, I kind of do. I had Quicksilver on and I had, Billabong shirt and, I had all these sort of things. And I went, oh yeah, I do, and I don't surf. And from that, and I remember that, and from that point on, I went, I was kind of like, oh, I better not overdress like that, and that stuck with me. That was 12, 13, and I still remember. It was funny. I was just walking with him the other day, and he doesn't remember it. Yeah. It was nothing to him.
Yeah, that's right.
But to me, it just was like, oh, I better change my look a little bit because this matters in year 7.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a big deal. So I went shopping and changed my wardrobe completely. Started buying keppers and silk shirts and
God.
Looney Tune ties, all that stuff.
Yeah, gosh.
But it's like, I mean, that was, like I said, by no means it was an aggressive sort of thing, but it was just a funny thing that stuck in my head, and that's stupid. I even saying it out loud is stupid. But it's just,
you never know what's going to stick with a person, do you?
Yeah, and it just means nothing to him. Like he doesn't even recall. Yeah. Why would he?
Yeah, exactly. It's so trivial, but to us, to a person on the receiving end,
stuck. And that then goes to if you are an aggressive person or you do say something nasty to somebody, and that really can show how that can affect somebody throughout their life. If you, if you give somebody, a hard time, that can, you can look back and go, oh wow, that does have an effect on somebody. When one comment about me wearing too much Quicksilver made me change my wardrobe. Someone who actually really does get bullied or has a rough trot.
Exactly.
And,
in those real formative years, as a child, as a young teenager in that case, even as a young adult, especially when you're the new guy. Now, if I criticised you for your clothes, you wouldn't remember the conversation at all.
No.
But if it was your first day at work and you're the new guy, first day, after graduating from something, well, then it's different.
Yeah.
It shows how much power people can have over you, doesn't it?
Yeah. In that moment of, in this case, in that moment of weakness, that whatever reason, and but that's a bad thing. But that people can have such an effect with such negative stuff, and it's not something that's new, and it's not something that's going to stop. Unfortunately, it's something that's always out there. But I didn't mean this episode to go down that path.
No, but look, we're talking about how little snippets come with us and how we carry them and spread them around. And it comes down to our personal energy as well, doesn't it? And personal experiences. And it makes me realise how, speaking to a young child, how careful we have to be with our words, because you can say something and you can be like, oh, what? I was just telling you that because I wanted this to happen. Yeah. And that sticks with them for life.
Yeah.
Life.
That's scary. That's a scary thought, because you think about how people can have children when they're still children.
Yeah, exactly.
As adults, we make errors. We do things and say things that like, if I had that, I wouldn't have done that way, as an adult. So I can imagine as a 17-year-old having a child, what impact you have on that said child. It's scary. It's scary. I know that the other night, one of my kids was just being real cheeky and repeating what I said, but in a real cheeky sort of way. Mm-hmm. But I was a little bit over it. Like she was being a little bit. It had a little bit of intent to it, and she did it. And I turned and I said, "Enough," and I basically reprimanded her for doing it. And I said, "Look, that's not a nice thing to do to people." And it was just about going to bed. I said, "You go into we're in her room." I said, "Go to bed." And when I turned, I must have had a look on my face. And she looked like, and she shut up straight away and went straight to bed. And I went, oh wow. And that's so unlike her. And then I walked out of the room and I grabbed her drink and I came back in and I said, look, I'm sorry that I got upset, but that was, the reason I did was that wasn't very nice. It made me feel, hurt that you were doing that. And, if you do that to other people, it's not going to be a nice thing. And she goes, okay. And she understood. Yeah. But I just like that moment, of when she looked at me, she knew she crossed the line, you know, and, but that has a massive effect on her. I think that she won't do that again. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that I reacted perfectly in that situation, because I probably shouldn't have reacted. By no means was it a bad thing. I just sort of turned to her and went, I must have just, and, but yeah, I guess those sort of things stick to your kids, and they think, well, I won't do that again. But I thought I'd explain to her why that was upsetting. Mm-hmm. And I think hopefully I did the right thing there. But
it's interesting you said that, that stuck with her. It sounds like something had stuck to you already for that to trigger you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe subconsciously, because I can't think of something but I just found it it was just one of those things. I think it was just a long day, and but yeah, it could be something there from some deep-seated past thing.
And I don't necessarily mean that somebody treated you like that in the past, and therefore you felt triggered. I mean, just for example, you straight away said that it wasn't nice what she was doing. Yeah. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I just figured that it seems like the injustice of it bothered you. Yeah. The idea of having a child that goes out into the world and picks on other people or is mean to somebody bothers you a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's essentially my initial thought is, it's very important to me that my kids feel, my kids, not very... I want my kids to have friendships, and I want them to experience friendships as much as, you can't control that, but I want them to. I think friendships for me made a big difference in my life. I feel like I've got a lot of friends, and I want to pass that on to them. And I just feel that doing stuff like that that's what sort of made me think that's not a nice thing to bring to a relationship.
Yep.
So I think if you dig deep, that's kind of where I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, that's not something I want my children to bring out into the world.
Yeah. Which
is what you said. But yeah, it's, that split second decision to turn around and go, hey, you're out of line. Get in bed and I'll come talk to you in a minute. That was basically me.
Yeah.
In a split second going, that's not a nice thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, parenting, eh?
But it shows how important that is to you that you've carried this around with you in the world, this whole idea of friendships are good.
Yeah.
Essentially, that's the basic line. That's your MO.
Yep.
And, that you want to pass that on. So that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope I'm right.
Look, I'd never tell any parent if they've done something right or wrong because I don't know. And I don't know what the whole purpose of everything is.
That's right.
For example, if your purpose there is to let them know that this is how you don't make friends, then it sounds like you succeeded.
Yeah.
I've got, similar issues with my kids where if they do something that triggers me, I always have to come back and ask myself, why did it trigger me?
Yep.
Because most things to me are like water off the duck's back. But if something
but all of a sudden,
it's like, whoa, that's my issue.
Yeah, yeah.
They didn't do anything.
They didn't do anything.
They're just living their lives, and all of a sudden it's just hit me, and I've got to go back to my own childhood, or young adulthood, or wherever it happened, and just go, oh, okay, so that's why I've got an issue. Yeah. So whose issue am I dealing with here? Theirs or mine?
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
Quite often it is mine.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's not to say they're perfect kids or anything.
No.
But, they're works in progress, just like me. I'm not perfect.
We're all going to be works in progress until the day we're not here, I think.
Exactly.
No one's going to get it right 100% of the time. And if you do, life's pretty boring, I guess. And, there's times where, we've started doing, that's why you train for sport. That's why you train, and for us here, like if like you came here today to do this podcast, I think if we just sat down and tried to do it, we wouldn't be able. It would take us a bit to get into, but we've got to sit down for 10 minutes. We don't talk about our subject, but we just have that cup of tea, cup of coffee, 10, 15 minutes of just because that's how we've learnt.
Yeah.
That's how we deliver a better product.
Yeah.
We don't say we're perfect at anything, and we just got to keep working at it.
Yeah.
I hope that sounded all right.
Well, I'm going to carry that around with me, Jared, wherever I go. That we're not perfect, we're works in progress, and we've got to just train for it. Train for life, really, don't we?
It's all. Everything we do is almost a training run, really.
I know, except we don't get a proper go afterwards, do we?
No.
So I've collected all this stuff from all these, great people like your dad, like my dad.
Yeah.
Like Erica, but I've got to use it now.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I've got to get it right in this life.
I know. Where are you going to take it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to have it. I don't want to be a wise old man, that's finally got it all at 80.
A wise middle-aged man.
Well, I'd like to. I'd like to make less mistakes.
Yeah.
And taking these snippets around with me, trying to remember the right things, and trying to let go of the things that aren't helpful.
Yeah.
Jared, you can dress however you want.
Thank you. I've got my Quicksilver shirt.
I'm going to buy you a Quicksilver pair of shorts, board shorts, and you can wear to work.
That'll be nice.
I'll buy you a wetsuit.
Thank you. Just a wetsuit.
But we don't need to carry that stuff, and it's also we're talking about carrying things around. Well, how do we let go of things as well? And I hope for example, let's just say your daughter got a complex out of that moment. She was like, I don't know if I can muck around anymore.
Yeah.
It's about getting that pendulum to swing the right way.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so that's but that's the challenges of parenthood, and like we've said, we're training, we're shaping these little humans to go and tackle the big world. At the moment, we're their best friends, we're everything to them. So as they go into the world, I mean, they're old enough now, they're starting to get their own friends, and they're starting to like their own things, and don't think that my music's cool anymore. But that's my complex. But so as life moves on, we hope that we've sort of put the right things into their minds to help them succeed.
Yeah.
But they got to do it on their own eventually.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like you looked at it as, you know, shaping them, putting things in their minds. And my kids, one of them in particular, has been telling me off, saying I give too many lectures.
Yeah, I was thinking that when I said that, the words came out a little bit different, but what I was thinking, but yeah, it's funny. I did think of one of your kids, and I thought, there's no way you're putting anything in that guy's mind.
No. But, you know, I love him for so many reasons, and that's one of them. He's just so fiercely independent. And we had this argument, and I didn't even know that it affected him that badly.
Yeah.
So, you know, as I've mentioned before in a previous episode, I started a cryptocurrency, and I had a promotional video for it. And he wanted to dislike it on YouTube.
Oh.
And I was like,
come on, man.
You can't do that. Like, this is like serious, man. I'm trying to do something. This is a professional thing for me. Like, you can't just dislike my work. And he was so upset.
All right.
Like, authentically upset.
Yeah, right.
Because he was being censored.
Right.
He can't stand censorship at all.
Oh, wow.
He's one of these free speech absolutists, my son. Seriously. And he's young. He's 7 years old.
Yeah.
By the way, everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, but he knows his rights. And I had no idea how much it affected him. And I said, look, if I'd known, I wouldn't have said that to you. And I said, look, if you want to dislike it, you go ahead and dislike it.
Yeah.
I'm sure he did. By the way.
But you want to find out why he wanted to dislike it. Was it just to get to you as a little bit of a like, hey, or does he genuinely not like the fact that you've done this video? Or
all right, well, look, I'm going to say something that's going to sound really conceited. But this is... And I'm just going on instinct here, and this is what I believe the truth is. In my family, the ultimate power is comedy.
Yep.
Okay? Everything is a joke.
Yep.
Okay? We always try to turn everything into a joke. And look, I'm the top dog, all right?
Well, I mean, you've done stand-up.
Exactly. No, but in all seriousness, you know, mate... Boom, boom.
You're there, right,
right. My son, my 7-year-old, he's very funny. He was born with a comedy gene.
Right, so it's alpha.
Inherited from his father, by the way. And I think he genuinely wants to be the funniest guy in the family.
Okay. It's an alpha thing.
I think it is.
Yeah.
And I have raised that with him, and he kind of gives me this look as if, you might be onto something here, Daddy, but I'm not going to say anything. So... he'll do anything he can to wind me up. Okay. Anything.
Yeah. And he knows how much you worked on.
Yeah. So, for example, I got someone to do an animation for me, and I did the voiceover. He's like, yeah, the animation's great, but the voiceover's terrible. He'll just say things like that. So he just wants to get at me.
Yep.
And there are days where, you know, I've come home from work and I'm like, I don't need this. But that's my issue. I'm the one that's been drained from work.
Yep.
I should be giving my family the best of me.
He's ready with his...
Yeah, exactly. So I've got to be able to take care of myself. You know, I've got to be able to hang with these really cool kids, right? So my eldest son, he's gone through it all. He's said all the things he's needed to say as a child. He's 13 now. And as we were talking earlier, you know, before we started recording, you know, talking to him like talking to an adult.
Yeah.
He's so mature. He's so sure of himself in a very humble way. He's not arrogant at all.
No, not at all.
But he knows who he is.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to prove anything. Whereas my 7-year-old,
it's game on.
Yeah, it's game on.
It's tough being at the top, isn't it? There's always people trying to knock you off.
Look, I've seen The Lion King many times. I know what's coming. Except he's going to conspire with his uncle.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's not going to be
to topple me. Look, and it's fine. You know, I can accept it. And I love that he's so fiercely independent.
Yeah.
I love that, you know, I can't put one on him. And I respect it.
Strong.
Yeah. Yeah, and look, one day he'll realise, okay, I don't need to be, you know, there's other ways of becoming the best rather than pushing someone else down.
Yeah, but at the moment, he's 7.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to let him develop in this way because the only person that's being affected is me on a bad day if I'm having issues. You know, if I'm feeling drained, if I just don't have the energy for it.
Yeah. But you can process that.
Exactly.
You know, maybe not at the moment. You might be like, oh, I don't know. But then you process it and then you can take it.
Yeah.
Because you're an adult.
I'm the adult, exactly. Yeah. And we've established that I'm the funny one in the family.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously. I mean, I've seen it reality. And it's,
But you know what? He's been to my stand-up shows.
Yeah.
All of them. And he's seen me do stand-up in our living room, you know, when I was testing the material on our friends. So he's grown up with all this. It's normal for him. You know, and I really love that. And my elder son said to me once, "It's so awesome having such a funny daddy."
Yeah, cool.
And, you know, that's probably the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me in my entire life.
And you're walking around on the clouds now. You're up in the clouds now. You're like, yeah, that's me.
And our audience is listening going, he never cracks any jokes on the show.
No, he's very serious on the show. Yeah, well, you know. Wait, it's coming. From episode 50 to episode 100, it's a new genre.
Yeah.
You know, we're going comedy.
Anyway, but look, that's what I've carried around with me. I understand that, you know, certain things stand out to you, and if I don't want my son thinking he's being controlled in any way because he hates it.
Yep.
He's such a free spirit. He's never even been to school.
Yep.
He's never been bossed around. So for me to tell him, no, you can't do that, it really is squashing his spirit. So my son, you dislike all the videos I make, and you go for it.
So we're going to get one dislike per episode on this too, aren't we?
Yeah. And we know who it is.
Yeah, we know who it is.
We know where he lives.
He'd be like, I don't care.
He told me he's going to smash me in front of all of my mates.
Yeah, good, yeah.
That's how much he cares. And I just want to go back to that whole alpha thing.
Yeah.
Just remember the first time you came over my place, the first time they met you, that they could remember.
Yeah.
They met you, I mean, you know, ages ago
times,
at a barbecue. But the first time they'd actually remembered you, the 7-year-old who was 6 at the time, what did he start doing straight away? Started beating me up.
Yeah.
Because he had to assert himself, didn't he? He has to show how much
his
of a man
mate's
he
here,
was.
I'm going to beat up Dad.
Exactly. He had to show how tough he was.
Yeah. You're going to have fun with this one.
Jarad, it's always a pleasure connecting with
Yes.
you and our audience out there. Thank you so much for connecting with us. We love you so much. We don't take you for granted.
Nope.
Hopefully you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. You're following us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
No dislikes.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we're censoring you here.
If you dislike us, please go ahead and hit that dislike button. You go for it. You let us know how terrible we are. But if you love us, please show us love. Get in contact with us. We love hearing from you. Until next time. Jarad, thank you.
Thank you, mate. Take it easy.